Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pastor Bruce. Welcome to my podcast. And today is October 10th, 2018. Now, for some of you that don't know me, for most of you who don't know me, I'm 66 years old. Served 20 years in the military as a law enforcement specialist. Have a degree in accounting, open my own business. And I still do taxes in retirement to help people out. I want you to understand that because I've been around. I've been to other countries where socialism is the mainstream. Talk to the people there, they're not very happy with it. But it's not that I'm talking to hear myself talk as some of the commentators on the mainstream media do. I mean, to sit there and give psychological evaluations on the president or anybody else is ridiculous when they have a degree in journalism. How do they know what the psychological is all about? Or if that's not the case, someone's writing what they have to say, so they're nothing more than talking heads. And they're trying to make you believe that they know what they're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a very dangerous time. And so this conversation goes out to all my Democratic brothers and sisters out there, even the ones that don't know me. You're still my brothers and sisters because you're all Americans. And for you Democrats that are Christian, we're brothers and sisters in Christ. So understand we have a connection one way or another, and that's what we need to focus on. And if you look at what's been going on in this country, you understand the frustration and the anger that Republicans feel when Hillary goes over to England and says there will be no civility until we elect Democrats. In other words, we're spoiled little people. We're spoiled to the point that we will create violence, hatred, will accuse people of being homophobic, misogynist, racist, Islamophobic. We'll say and do whatever it is to demean half of this nation so that we can have the House and the Senate back, so we can be the leaders of this country. Do you want people like that? When Maxine Waters goes on the news and says to get into people's faces, when Corey, sex offender Booker, says the same thing, is that what you want? Violence? Because you see, Hillary put it together. We're not going to be civil until you put Democrats in office. We want power. We want control. Put Democrats in office, we'll be civil. Otherwise, we're not going to be civil. That's your leadership, people. That's the Democratic leadership of this country. Is that what you want? We've tried over 248 years of trying to live in peace and harmony. We have a nation that has unified both as countries, or individual states to become one country. We've unified in the acceptance of others for the religious beliefs. We have done what we can when we find a mistake, when we find an ill-gotten gain, we try to correct it. That's what humanity is all about. We had slavery. We ended it by a Republican in 1865 called Abraham Lincoln. And yet in the same year, the Southern Confederate Army created the KKK. They didn't want it. Republicans said free for all. The Democrats said no. In 1938, the Republicans submitted to Congress the Civil Rights Bill. The Republicans did that in 1938, and the Democrats shot it down. They didn't want equality amongst blacks and whites. We know that Senator Byrd, a high-ranking member of the KKK, was in the Senate for many years. We know that Al Gore's father was a member of the KKK. President Wilson was a member of the KKK. All Democrats. They did not want blacks to have any sort of equality or power in this country. And yet, in 1963, when they were faced with nonviolent protests and their people were kicking and punching and beating with clubs and sicking dogs on the black and whites that were running or walking in marches, peaceful marches, they realized they lost, so they better do something. So they came up with the Civil Rights Act, which they already had since 1938. But they didn't have enough Democrats to vote it into office because a lot of them still refused to do it. So they went across to the Republicans, and the Republicans said no problem at all, and it passed. But they take credit for passing the Civil Rights Act. No. They were doing it because they knew the violence was not going to work. Violence was not going to work. That Martin Luther King was right. Do peaceful. Let them show their ignorance and their stupidity. Today is the same exact thing. Republicans aren't lifting up arms. Republicans aren't protesting in the street. Republicans aren't destroying people's property. It is the Democratic followers who are nothing more than puppets that are being paid by George Soros and a couple of other billionaires to create chaos in this country so that the Democrats, according to Hillary Clinton, will take office in order to create civility. Ladies and gentlemen, they're socialists. 47 socialists are running throughout this country for positions in government. State, local, and federal. 47 socialists. Your party, the Democratic Party, is becoming the Socialist Party. And the Socialist Party wants one thing and one thing only: socialism in this country. You've lived and grown your whole life in a democratic republic. Do you really want socialism? Do you want to look like Venezuela or any other country whose socialist government has failed? They say, oh, well, no, we're going with the Scandinavian socialism. But they want to do away with capitalism. Guess what the Scandinavian socialists have? Capitalism. That's why it works. These people have no clue. All they want to do is destroy America. I'm going to close with something that was said in 1945. At the end of the war, General Patton was talking to the president of Russia and said, I told my president we should have just kept right on marching and destroyed communism here in Russia. And the leader turned to him and said, we will not conquer America by war, but we will conquer from within. Ladies and gentlemen, you see, this is the attempt to destroy America from within. And it's the socialists and the Democratic Party that are doing it. If you like a democratic republic with a capitalist system, you have to turn away from your own party and put Republicans into office. And then in the next 2 years, cleanse. You cannot be a socialist. You have to believe in the agenda of the Democrats. And socialism is not part of that. And you've got to get rid of the socialists and put true Democrats in the Democratic Party. If you can do that, we can still have a two-party system. If you can't, once the Democrats take control, that's it. They've lost. Our country has lost. You've seen what happened under 8 years of Obama, under a socialist leader. You've seen the lies that have occurred. And yet you said nothing. You also voted for a Republican. A lot of you voted for a Republican. Even though she won the popular vote, county by county, it showed that you were voting Republican because you didn't want her and the socialist agenda in the government. Now, this is the most crucial election that's out there. Don't be fooled to believe that they want democracy. They want to destroy the Constitution, they want to destroy the Bill of Rights, and they want to make us a socialist nation. Ladies and gentlemen, I pray for each and every one of you to make the right decision, to vote the right way, to protect our Constitution, our government. And think about what the Democratic leadership wants. Democratic leadership wants open borders. Democratic leadership wants to get rid of ICE. Democratic leadership wants to support Kaepernick and not the American flag. Democratic leadership wants to pay Iran billions of dollars. Even if it's their own money, they want to give them their billions of dollars back to a country that says death to America. That's the leadership of the Democratic Party. I'm asking the followers, is that what you truly want? The death of this nation? It's Pastor Bruce. God bless and have a